Hello, welcome to Southern Spice. This is your host Venki, and Southern Spice is the only Tamil program on FM and AM radio on Radio Zindagi, 1310 AM, Parsippany, New Jersey, 96.7 FM, Edison, New Jersey, 540 AM, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and also streaming live on Southern Spice USA Facebook and YouTube channels. Southern Spice நிகழ்ச்சியில நீங்க பார்த்திருப்பீங்க, we've been doing a series of conversations with youngsters, uh, pr- uh, particularly high school students who are doing something very different. They're all change makers, and they're all taking one or the other cause, very important and noble causes, and then they're running with it, apart from, of course, their education. So in that series, today, I have a very, very interesting young change maker. Her name is Danya Sri. Danya Sri Ananda Prakash is her name, and she's in the Bay Area in California and doing something very different. So let's put our hands together and welcome Danya Sri. Hi, Danya. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, where you're from, what you're doing.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danya Sri Prakash. I'm currently a rising senior here at California High School, which is located in the Bay Area.
Okay.
I'm currently aspiring to be a neurosurgeon in the future, but I'm focusing heavily on biomedical innovation throughout my high school career. I've created multiple projects with biomedical innovation in them, and I seem to focus more on providing equitable and accessible products to underserved communities. I'm deeply passionate about the sciences, but more than learning, I innovate and support communities that are underserved. I'm more driven by the question who gets access to care and who doesn't. And I think that's been really rooted throughout my high school career that healthcare should be not just more accessible, but also equitable. And that's why I started Humanities in Focus, my nonprofit that aims to help autism and individuals to uplift in the community.
Very cool. So, what inspired you? How did you get this passion for autism advocacy, and
Yeah. Mhm.
specifically, why did you pick that cause?
So I remember it was freshman year and I had just finished my Algebra 2 class. So I had come outside for a walk with my class when the autism sector of our school was also present there while they were taking a walk. And I noticed that a group of students were actually making fun of these students with autism. And it wasn't loud or obvious in any ways, but it was more of subtle comments and that they would make or mocking how they behave or they walk that really made me feel helpless in how I wasn't able to do anything about it. And in that moment, something connected me to an experience I had from before. So we had a family friend who had a child with autism, and I remember them trying to do everything they could in their power to remove the autism from him or fix him in any way. And that didn't sit right with me. It was a part of him, and, especially in the Asian community around here, it's been really tough to being able to be promote autism because it's really looked at as a flaw overall.
Mm.
And it made me understand how uncomfortable people are with difference and how little space there is for real acceptance. So even at school, I hear microaggressions like, oh, they look autistic, which, without understanding the harm, is thrown out a lot in a jokingly manner. And I wanted to really impact the youth because I want a society that's more accepting of autism and what goes around in autism to understand what autism really is, what really goes down on the brain. And that's why I created Humanities in Focus, and it started from a place of frustration, but as well as love.
Nice. So basically, you did see some gaps and needs in the community. Of course, you explained a
Mhm.
situation and what triggered it, but what were the other gaps that you saw that kind of led you to create Humanities in Focus?
Yeah, so one of the biggest gaps I saw was that parents and caregivers usually don't take the time to talk to their kids about autism what it is, and how you treat others with autism.
Mhm.
And I think personally that silence alone speaks so many volumes because when kids aren't taught empathy or understanding, they fill in the gaps of their understanding with mockery, stereotypes, microaggressions. And the truth is that behavior starts at home. It's something that you have to nurture to kind of show that behavior in the children themselves. So when I had a podcast with a mother, she said something like, "What we teach at home is what our children carry with them." After she talked about her experience with her child. So she said when she was in a park with her child who had nonverbal autism, that a group of kids who were all friends seemed to make fun of him because obviously it comes out of a place of curiosity, and they seemed to make fun of how he was just playing around. And she took the time to go over there and kind of explain what autism is and help them understand that. But one thing she noticed is that the parents would just stand there helpless. But they could have, they could have stepped in, they could have done something. And that kind of led her to advocate for autism more because it's a conversation that you need at home. And curiosity, it's completely natural and it's a good thing to have, but it's how you shape it and nurture it at home that, promotes like uplifting of autism individuals. So these small things do seem harmless, but they shape how children see others. And that's why Humanities and Focus targets youth.
Okay. So how long have you been running this so far?
So it's about to be a year once we hit September, but we have been planning this nonprofit for over a year. But our official board and everything has started in September. But I feel like we targeted and we've done so much in 1 year that I really didn't think was possible when I first, started Humanities in Focus.
Yeah, so tell us about that. What's been accomplished in the past 1 year, and what are the significant achievements?
Yeah. So currently we have two partnerships internationally with two autism centers. We have had multiple fundraisers, and we've also, one of our proudest moments is actually that we helped an autism center raise over $400,000 for
Mhm.
the expansion of their campus, school, and supplies. We currently have three chapters internationally with 40 officers
Wow.
and more members as well. We currently have one here in California, one in Texas, and one in Bangalore, India.
Mhm.
We have been recognized by an autism author, advocate, and mother. And we also have our podcast. It is called Beyond the Diagnosis, and we dive into what autism really means past just diagnosing someone with autism or knowing that they have autism. What does that really mean for them, their family, their community? And our social media content, which we aim to reach youth again, has reached to over 16,000 individuals. And we have had an international newspaper feature us in their India feature, and they have brought us so much support and interest. And we've also, through our amazing team, we have created guides that entail on what autism really is and topics covering them. And then we've also been selected to collaborate with Supporting Child Caregivers, which is a larger nonprofit that really shows parents about, just having a child and being able to nurture them in the most positive way. So we're going to be having a podcast with them, and we have, been selected for their collaboration.
Brilliant. So you've also had you know uh, colleges and universities kind of looking into this and talking to you.
Yeah, so in our podcast, we had the Stanford Parental Advisory Board for their autism program, which they have a separate autism center for. So we've had them on, we've had Stanford professors on.
Wow.
Um, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So you must have, like it's simple. When you plant a sapling, it starts
Hmm.
growing. So you
Yeah.
planted this seed, and some things must have happened. So do you have any kind of, powerful or meaningful stories that you have experienced so far? I know it's only been a year or so, but
Hmm.
has there been something that you can share with us?
Yeah. So this last May, I was actually at the fundraiser. It was called Starry Night with Morgan Autism Center, and that's where we were helping them raise over $400,000.
Mhm.
So the event was a lot of auctioning. So they had vacation packages that people would auction for, raffles, artwork by children of autism, which was beautiful. And they had just so many opportunities to be able to fund and give back to the community. So a mother came up to me after the event because she had a son on the spectrum, and she told me that I've never seen someone your age speak about autism like that. It made my own son feel like he mattered. And I remember this line exactly because it again highlights our mission that we're targeting the youth. A lot of parents right now don't feel comfortable with letting their child with autism into these communities with youth right now because currently I would say we have a lot of stereotypes, a lot of microaggressions going on in the youth community without understanding what autism really is. So for me, it was about being seen, like being able to recognize that the youth are able to do something about this cause. And for me, that was a reminder of why we do this. It's not about just advocacy, but it's about giving families understanding and hope when they've been overlooked for so long.
So yeah, so that brings me to this question. While you've had some seriously unique and different experiences, you also mentioned about microaggressions that are happening among the youth. So you must have also faced some challenges along the way, right?
Mhm.
Uh, Tell us about that and how you overcame those challenges.
So, one of the biggest challenges for us was getting people to agree to our podcast. Since we're completely youth led, I think they do have certain expectations and they don't believe that we can meet those expectations. So, a lot of professionals like doctors, professors, and even parents are very hesitant at first, coming onto our podcast, speaking about these issues that are so personal to them.
Mhm.
And some of them definitely didn't take us seriously, and others were worried about how the conversation would be handled, if we would be respectful enough. But I think a lot of them just underestimated us due to us being youth led and totally age. I completely get that. But I made sure every message or email showed just not professionalism, but that we're really passionate about this cause. And it wasn't just like a school project. We're trying to really be able to reach youth minds.
That is so mature, Danya. It takes a lot. So I'm sure you have somebody guiding you, right? Your parent, your dad, mom.
So currently we are led by four directors, which includes me. So we have four main directors and then we have the rest of the team. So we're not really led by an adult here.
Okay, nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's
hmm
phenomenal. So, what have you personally learned about autism through this journey? I mean, you must have learned a lot as compared to what you knew about it before you started it.
Yeah. Um, I think one of the main things that our team learned in together is autism isn't a whole, like a single experience.
Hmm.
It's not the same for everyone, and it's very different for each person and each family. And it takes a huge amount of emotional strength for parents to advocate for the children every day. So one of the most important kind of understandings is that schools, most public schools have a separate autism sector for their child who has autism to be enrolled in. But when that autism sector is not enough, the school has to give permission to the parent to be enrolled in a different specialized autism school. And a lot of public schools are against this. They feel like they have the necessary equipment and the supplies to be able to handle these students, but that's not necessarily always the case.
Hmm.
And I think the parents have to advocate a ton with a lot of emotional strength, like I mentioned before, to make sure that their child can be able to get the supplies and the resources that they need. And, public schools obviously are entailed to a single program and they think it's a single, experience of autism, but it's vastly different. And when needed, you should be able to give these students the access that they need. So I've understand and I've seen how parents are often dismissed, misunderstood, or made to feel like they're asking too much when they're just asking for basic support for their child. Also cultural stigma can make it so much harder for families to talk about autism openly. Like I mentioned before, especially in the Asian community, it's treated like it's something to hide, and that silence really causes a lot of harm.
Hmm. Okay, so moving on, have you had any collaborations with other organizations, uh, or schools, colleges, universities, and can you tell us about at least one such collaboration that had a significant impact in what you do, and has it taught you something?
Mhm. So one of our collaborations that made the biggest impact was Morgan Autism Center, which we were partnered with during our early fundraisers. We were working to expand their campus and needed support them to raise their funds, and we helped them organize that large auction where people kept playing higher bids. And what was really amazing to watch is how one person can really start the chain. So at the auction, I remember you know, the vacation packages, and everything just being auctioned. And also the children's artwork, there was so much fight over it that I think it really highlight like the fight as in the higher bid over it. But I think that really showed us how like supportive of community that they all had, and how they really wanted to show those kids like, we do care about you. We love you. Like we love you for who you are. And at the end, they had another bid where they had, you needed to place a higher bid. The higher bid you placed, the more impact it would have on um, raising the funds overall. And one person had started the chain, and after that, the next person had just started piling up. And it was such a great experience, like looking at the chain reaction, to see that we raised over $400,000 to just support classroom supplies and student resources. And what meant the most to me was the trust that they placed in us as a youth-led organization. And the organization definitely showed me um, that real impact is about showing up with care, consistency, and a shared purpose. And collaboration is most powerful when you believe the people in what they're doing together.
Cool. So having raised 400,000 is a phenomenal achievement, Danya. Kudos to that. Congratulations, and keep up the good work. So, where do you see humanities in focus going from here? Right? And are there any exciting upcoming projects you're working on?
So currently, we are trying to expand our outreach with more chapters and more collaborations in Asian countries, and because of the stigma I mentioned earlier. So we recently partnered with another organization that supports children with autism through workshops and being able to educate them. So we're raising money for them to be able to get their supplies, and yeah, that's something we're working on. New chapters, new volunteers. We had so much interest from officers in India that I was personally shocked. But we had a huge amount of interest, and it really shows that people are dedicated about this. Like the youth does want to change this. And we're currently working also on an educational app after speaking to behavior specialists on what app they would prefer, understanding the emotions of the kids. And they said that they would prefer a choice board for nonverbal autism kids to, understand what they want better, because a lot of the choice boards aren't fitted to have exactly every necessary thing that they need to communicate. So we're working with that. We're growing our podcast as well, new episodes with experts from different countries to bring more diverse perspectives in. We've created research-based guides and translated them into multiple languages is something we're working on. And yeah, partnerships. And the goal has been always to, spread our outreach and spread our message. So we're creating something global, but also personalized to our experience. And we want to continue leading with empathy, led by youth, and grounded in real impact.
Cool. Where can people find your blog
Yeah, sure. So
or your podcast? Sorry. Yeah.
So on Spotify, we have uploaded all our podcasts as well as YouTube. It's called Beyond the Diagnosis, and we have everything linked on our Instagram as well. Where we are pretty huge, reaching over 16,000 individuals. So we have everything linked there. We have pretty much weekly posts about autism, our podcasts and what the impact we have made for the week is.
Okay.
So yeah.
Beyond the diagnosis.
hmm
That's how they can search and find you.
Yes.
Okay, great. Wonderful, Danya. So, before I let you go,
hmm
um, to all the people who are either listening or viewing this program, this interview, if there is one message that you'd like to give them about either about autism or youth leadership, what would it be?
I think the main message that I would send would be this exactly. No matter what problem you're trying to fix, inclusion starts with listening.
Mhm.
And autism alone, it's not something to fear or, fix necessarily. It's a different way of experiencing the world, and that difference deserves respect and not judgment. As young people, we do have the power to shift the culture by asking questions, by being kind, and by standing up when we see someone being excluded. You don't have to be an expert or have a title to make this change, and you just need to care enough about it to start.
Beautiful. That was a lovely message. Thank you so much, Danya. You're doing great work. Keep continuing it. I know you're going to go into college pretty soon, so I hope you will be continuing this, and all the other people that you roped in will also continue growing this from strength to strength. So, congrats, kudos to what you're doing, and keep it going.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining Southern Spice today, and we keep us posted on your progress. We'll try and bring you on another episode few months down the line.
Thank you.
All right, Danya, take care. Bye bye. Okay, so that was Danya Sri, and she's based out of the Bay Area, California, and doing phenomenal work in autism awareness. So, if you need to reach her, Beyond the Diagnosis is the name of her podcast. You can go online and find it. With that, we close this episode of Southern Spice. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for listening, or thanks for watching. I'll come back to you with another interesting episode fairly soon. Till then, take care, be well.